What's up, Ringside Collectibles? And WrestlingFigures.com fans. We're here at San Diego Comic-Con 2023. I'm here with my old best pals, Steve Ozer, Bill Miekina. Steve, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
Bill, how you doing?
Great. Tired and great.
Bill, how about you?
I'm hanging in there.
Hanging in there. We're almost through the insanity of it, but you know we got to pin you down for a good old classic Ringside Collectibles Q&A. Are you guys cool with that?
I'm cool with it. Bring on the when are we getting X superstar in the line?
We don't ask those questions anymore. What about you, Bill? You're going to be all right with this?
Sure.
A man that's straight to the point. That's what Bill has always been.
He knows the clock is ticking.
He's right. Okay, with that in mind, let's ask the very first question. These are fan-selected questions, by the way, so no BS here. We're getting down to the real nitty-gritty. What was the reasoning behind the changed technology for the basics that was debuted this most recent trip?
It was time. We're going on 15 years now of essentially the same articulation, and we pride ourselves of putting out the best product at our price points. For wrestling figures, you need that posability. It's essential to recreate what you see on TV. And now, as you saw, with our Dio, you can do all that and more.
Definitely. Bill, any thoughts on the new articulation? How do you feel about it?
I think it's great because now the basics and elites, they live closer together as like one cohesive statement, whereas before there was a definite separation with the lack of posability on the lower legs. Now that sort of barrier to entry is gone, and so they all sort of they live together more.
People that are waiting for like an elite LA Knight, for example, are now going to be able to maybe get a basic LA Knight a little earlier, but with that extra articulation, he's going to be match ready in someone's figure collection, so to speak.
It's going to feel much more satisfying now, right? I do feel like, as a longtime collector myself, sometimes you do feel like you have to settle, right? Like, okay, I'll get this for now. I don't think you're going to feel that way anymore, especially when you get these in hand. And there's something else that you can't really, you can't see at all based on just seeing figures in pictures, is that there's actually a swivel at that ball joint at the hip as well. It's not like a swivel cut like the Elites, but it swivels on the hip joint, so you get even more range of motion. It's really nice.
Exciting. It was great to see that, and looking forward to what that brings for basics in the future. Next question. So we've seen now an adjusted AJ Styles torso. You debuted on the panel a Roman Reigns with an Ultimate Edition with a little bit broader of a torso, I believe, and we've also referenced in the future Hulk Hogan's torso will change. It has. Oh, okay.
The 3-pack has a new torso for Hulk Hogan.
3-pack has the new torso mold.
And the Monday Night War Hogan.
Exciting. So they're already being implemented into the line. This was, kind of oft requested for a while. What has happened that you're making these changes, and do you plan on changing the parts of anyone else to more accurately reflect their real-life counterpart?
Yeah. Everyone knows I'm on the forums. Everyone knows I'm on Instagram all the time, and I'm friends with lots of collectors, and we talk about it. And we agree, right? But sometimes, if we have to develop a new part, we need to carve out that tooling money. So yes, we're going to continue to do it. We know what we should be doing and what we want to do that maybe you're not even aware of, and we're just going to whittle away at it. Great.
And Bill, for you, as far as part selection goes, is there an attention to detail as part of this that gets really, it's got to be a little challenging here and there, right? To just make sure it's super accurate. How do you feel about making adjustments once in a while?
It's, sometimes you've been working on something for so long, and so it's a part that you haven't used in a while, like the torso for AJ Styles. Sometimes you even forget that it's, available at hand. So when that is sort of brought to the top of my mind by your fans, it's why don't we try it out and see how it looks and see if it works? And in that case, it did, and it worked out best for everyone.
Excellent. Great to see some of those new adjustments, and we'll see what else the future brings. So just recently, we had the Ultimate Edition Series 18 set. That was, it's including Randy Orton, who will be shipped. The Randy Wave, right, which
singularly.
Singularly. A little bit of a surprise, but, we did kind of get right up to the minute with what was supposed to be a Macho Man Randy Savage in that set, but unfortunately it's been pulled. Can you comment on that and possibly give any explanation as to why? And, you know, as much as you could say is fine. I know it's not necessarily something you can comment too deeply on, but can you let folks know what happened there?
Yeah, at least a little bit. I saw comments like, hey, Mattel's dodging the question. Nobody's asked. So thank you for asking, because we wanted to address it. And, you know, sometimes things happen, right? It's going to be a little vague, and, you know how it is, right? But sometimes things happen, and you have to put the pause on things, right? I think we do a fantastic job of rescuing lost figures, paused figures, and I think the same hopefully will happen here. It's on pause. As soon as we can get things rolling again, we will. Macho Man, of course, is part of the WWE family, and Bill and I especially are looking forward to making more Macho Man figures for years to come.
It's very unlikely that this is the last that we see of him, it sounds like.
I couldn't see that happening.
Yeah, great. Okay, makes sense. With the current status of larger playsets, the last time we spoke, we didn't necessarily have an answer. Can you give a status update on like a playset based on a PLE, like a Hell in a Cell or an Elimination Chamber?
Yeah, we've been pitching them, right? We've been pitching them, and much like a crowdfunded item, right? You need to garner enough support from retailers to do a full run of these massive, expensive play sets. And I think we're getting close. It's only a matter of time until you see things like this reintroduced again. Okay. And hopefully you'll see them at ringsidecollectibles.com.
I would love that. That'd be very exciting. You did mention the crowdfund. We haven't seen each other since, you know, unfortunately the Nitro crowdfund was not funded. It was extremely close, but unfortunately didn't quite make it over the finish line. Obviously there were so many people looking forward to that. It was an incredible, amazing piece. A question that keeps coming up a lot is with the crowdfund essentially not being funded, is there's still a fan demand for that Nitro stage, or at least some version of it, right? Is there ever a chance for another version of this to be made, or possibly the same version in the future, or was the end of that crowdfund essentially the end of the Nitro stage?
And for now, I think you got to give something like that a break. There's no way anyone in any leadership role in any company would allow me to come back right after that didn't make it and be like, hey, here's my new plan for it, right? I mean, right? Come on. But like I said, we like to rescue things. Maybe there's a way to do it differently way down the road. Yeah. Maybe it's the same thing. Maybe we formulate a new way of approach to pitch these things to consumers that'll work. So I don't know. It goes back in the vault for now, but I don't like to lose anything that we've worked really hard on. And Bill Beneke and Mike worked so hard amongst everybody. I mean, dozens of people worked on these things for years, yeah. And we don't want to let that go to waste.
So next up, are there any legends that aren't typically produced on your radar, like we saw the Great Muta in the Hall of Fame last year, right? And then also another name. We don't like to do too many name drops because we know, you guys are pretty on point with getting new names into the line, but like a Great Muta and a Pedro Morales were names that I saw mentioned pretty regularly in this most recent poll for questions. So I wanted to ask about those or any other legends that are typically a little bit outside of the radar.
Yeah, I mean, we have more legends coming. You can only show so much at once, right? And we're showing deep into 2024 at this point, but there's still some stuff that just wasn't ready to show that is being worked on. First-time legends, returning legends, some holy crap surprises when you see these names or these visuals pop up. Yeah, so there's more coming. I mean, we got Lou Albano out finally as an elite figure, and there's definitely more in the works. And I mean, you don't have to twist Bill's arm to get Great Muta in the line, right?
Yeah. Bill, what do you think? Great Muta, perhaps? That'd be nice.
The day I find out he's under WWE deal is the day I start working on him. So, yeah.
And happily, great. No lunch breaks, only work on Great Muta.
That's what it takes.
There's a guy that is very much passionate about his craft right there. If you're going to miss lunch, that's a big deal. So next up, we've seen some more NXT talent in the main line. Would you say, just a straight up question, are you mixing talent from NXT into the main line more often now?
Yeah, don't know if it was Q&As with you or answers on the forums, but we want to have at least one slot in Elites and Basics dedicated to an NXT level talent. Sometimes it doesn't work out. And, you know, there was a lot of change in WWE programming over the last few years and for a lot of different aspects of things. So, you know, maybe that we had to deviate for a little bit, but it looks like we're back on track now.
Great. Sounds excellent. Next up, there's been some kind of whispers because of I don't know if it was a store listing or something happened over the name Bad Bunny is coming up a lot. It's kind of shown up and gone away, and people are a little bit confused. Could you confirm whether or not this is still coming, or is a Bad Bunny possible?
Not coming. Not right now anyway, right?
Okay.
Maybe it changes. I hope so. We want to do that figure as much as everybody else, but that was just an error, so sorry guys.
Okay, understandable. Thanks for your honesty. Can you tell us a little bit about the new packaging? Maybe, Bill, I'll ask you this one. It's a little bit different, right? What packaging adjustments look like in the future? And is there a chance that maybe like Chase figures might have different packaging down the line?
Probably not, just because of the way the Mattel system is. It's not something that that we usually do. The figure itself is what's going to be changed on package like that. I like the new packaging look for 2024. It's a bigger area for artwork on the front of the box. It reduces some of the plastic that just gets thrown out and tossed in the garbage. That adds to the fact that I don't know, it's pretty hot here, and anything that helps it cool off a little bit, I'm all for.
I'm all for the packaging helping the carbon footprint for sure. Me as well. Steve, any thoughts? How do you feel about the way that it looks with the update? It seems to me, my personal opinion, like. It hits kind of a sweet spot. Would you agree?
Exactly. You wanna hit that middle ground where you're doing the right thing, but like, of course, this is what the product is, right? And it's for collectors. So we're trying to make smart decisions. Coliseum Collection, retros, that's meant to be completely kept, right? So we've designed it as such. Ultimate Edition, it's very important to retain that original vision of it as much as possible. You have a little wiggle room with Elites. You will have a little wiggle room with Basics, most likely, right? So I think it's finding that sweet spot to do the right thing while retaining the spirit of each individual line.
Excellent. So, great answer, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that works out in the future with it as well. Bill, here's one specifically for you. We saw an incredible Asuka figure debuted on the panel. Sure did. I don't think there was a photo of what her jacket's going to look like, right? But you did say that she'll include that really elaborate entrance robe. I believe. Is that correct?
Yeah, the jacket will be based off of what she wore at the Royal Rumble when she debuted her new sort of clown makeup motif that I was a big fan of. So yeah, it's a challenge to get an accessory like that onto the figure, considering she's also very deco heavy, but it's going to include everything. So yeah, a lot of work went into making sure that we could reproduce as much of that look as possible, and we basically got I think we basically got all of it.
Yeah, it's. I think that So the question here ultimately from this fan was, is there anything that to get so much detail and so much like incredible soft goods into what is already an elaborate figure in an Ultimate Edition? Is there a different part of the process for you? Obviously you're a very detail oriented guy. Does that change? Do you have to be more detail oriented with something more elaborate like that, or are there any differences in the process?
The biggest difference in the process is just sort of figuring out, how to balance something like that, because the production cost on that is going to be higher than other figures in the wave. So especially with an Ultimate, you don't want to shortchange the other figures in the line to reproduce something like that requires that much, even with the with the elaborate deco and the soft goods. And I think with the lineup in that wave, it's a very strong lineup. Like you look at that wave and like, it at the end of the, we are balancing with the talent that we have. And there are three really solid offerings. You have a Roman Reigns with the significant updates. The first one was, we made a lot and we sold them even quicker. So obviously there's a man there. And then the Bray Wyatt with the the change from the entrance to the in-ring appearance during the Lights Out match. It's going to be something that really you can only accomplish in an Ultimate. So that one, I really can't wait to see the first samples on that one to see how that looks as an actual product as opposed to rendering, which I'm really happy with the rendering so far. Can't wait to see it as an actual product.
It's going to be a great.
Shout out to Roman Reigns for wearing just plain black pants.
Very helpful. Thank you, Roman Reigns. Great work on those, and incredible to see the detail that goes into Ultimate Edition. We're very happy to be able to distribute those at Ringside, so keep up the good work, I'd like to say, of course. Can you give us a little bit of an update on women's figures in general and their being included in the line more often? To me, it seems like it's happening more often as time goes on. Can you speak to that at all?
Yeah, I mean, we make sure there's at least one present in every wave of basics and elites at the very least. Sometimes more, and like I said, sometimes things happen, we have to make a shift or whatever, but that's kind of the goal at the minimum. And I think if you look back 6 years ago, 7 years ago, it was drastically lower, that number. So, you know, it's much higher now, and we're going to push it as high as it can go. As long as people keep buying these figures and they move well on planograms specifically, we can push the boundaries.
Excellent. Very exciting. And it'll be, I'm sure, fans that specifically collect the female figures can have that to look forward to. So I'm going to close it out with what I think is a huge accomplishment that kind of an unsung dark horse thing referenced on the panel, but you were finally able to produce not one but two referee figures on this panel. So we have John Cone as a referee and also Teddy Long as a referee. This is like something that people have been asking for since I was like in middle school buying figures, and there's never been a referee figure, and you guys made it happen. So first of all, congratulations. Second, can you tell us a little bit about why now and how that worked out and why we got so lucky?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long time coming. We kind of unlocked a little bit of the ability to do it with Dangerous Danny Davis. And I did want to do Teddy Long, but he was no longer available to us, right? But recently, I think there's been a little bit of a push with utilizing referees more, you know, across our product, and I think you've seen them in video games. And, you know, it's just working with licensor to unlock more talent. Like, there were no deals in place for these referees unless it was like a Danny Davis or a Teddy Long. So we wound up getting Teddy back first, which, okay, great, multi-use, you know, very much so. And then referees like John Cone. So I'm hoping we can do even more as time goes by.
That would be really exciting. And Bill, is there any referee name on the list that is kind of a must-do for you at this point?
I was going to say Bill Alfonso, but
okay. That would be
I don't know if that one's on the I don't know if that one's on the radar or not, but that would be
probably lower on the radar.
Lower on the radar, but how about Little Nate, Charles Robinson? I would. That's who I would. That'd be my first thought. But you know, seems like it's out there. You never know what'll. But they're to kind of definitively get word on this now that we've seen some. They're not off the table anymore. Would you say that's correct?
Absolutely. And we are working to improve as well. I think you saw Teddy and John have the older style Build-A-Figure legs. There were some compatibility issues with the Ali referee legs, so we're trying to work on that and see if we can create something new that's going to function with more modern articulation. So fingers crossed it works out in time for at least one of those figures.
Very cool. We'll be looking forward to that. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. Another Comic-Con in the books for us. 2023 is all set. It's a great time seeing you as always, and thanks so much for talking to us and giving us some insight into the great work that you do. So Bill, thank you very much. And Steve, thank you very much.
Our pleasure. We appreciate you, Tom, and the Ringside team, and love seeing everybody out here at San Diego Comic-Con.
Anytime. So thanks for tuning in to Ringside Collectibles San Diego Comic-Con 2023 coverage. And, you know, we'll see you around the block, right?